Hey, Rick Aramella here. Thanks for tuning in to my free drone training where I'm going to reveal my 10 secrets to make your drone footage cinematic, along with my 5 steps to make money with your drone. These tips and strategies I'm going to share with you are the ones I've used over the years to grow a successful drone business and land big clients like National Geographic, Polar Pro, Sammark, Freewell, and many more. They have also helped me build a YouTube channel with over 35,000 subscribers and have allowed me to earn a full-time living while I travel all over the world. So whether you are a beginner, intermediate, or even a pro, I'm confident that this training will give you actionable steps to instantly improve your drone skills while showing you specific ways to grow your business. Alright, let me give you a brief overview of what you can expect from this webinar. I'm going to start by giving you my top 10 secrets to make your drone footage cinematic. But make sure to watch until the end because then I'm going to show you my 5 steps I took to go full time with my own business. This will save you a lot of time and frustration figuring this all out yourself. And quite frankly, you won't find this type of training anywhere else online. Because I'm giving away so much free value in this training, at the end, I'm going to make a discount offer for the full course for anybody who wants to learn more beyond just this free training session, along with answering the most common questions I receive. All right, let's begin. Secret number 1, stylized look. The first secret is creating a stylized look. While drone manufacturers like DJI and Autel have great looking video with the default settings, small changes can make your footage stand out from the crowd and make you more memorable for clients and viewers. I'm now going to show you ways to create a stylized look in camera and then in post-production. For these secrets, I'm going to use the DJI drones and software since they're the most common. But if you fly a drone with a different brand, these tips will still apply. So in the DJI Fly app, click on the 3 dots in the upper right hand corner, then click on Camera. Under Color, you have the choice of D-Log, HLG, or Normal. Choose D-Log or D-Cine-like mode on some drones allows you more flexibility in the highlights and shadows for post-production. While the image looks flat or incomplete in camera, you can make adjustments to your contrast, color, and sharpness in your editing software, such as Adobe Premiere Pro, to create your specific stylized look. Or, if you want instant results, you can apply a LUT or lookup table in your editing software and get a pre-made stylized look. I provide you 6 LUTs in the full course in order to save you time. These LUTs include a natural look, the popular orange and teal look, film look, saturated look, and monochrome. Also in the full course, for those interested in editing their own footage, I walk you step by step on my entire color grading workflow. There are some important adjustments you may consider in the Drones app. These adjustments are currently available in the DJI Go 4 app and should be in the DJI Fly app soon. So in the DJI Go 4 app, I usually adjust my contrast, lowering it to -1 in order to give me a little more detail in the shadows. Now, if you prefer more contrast, you can leave it at 0 since DJI drones have a lot of contrast by default. Or if you want to do some editing in post-production or like a flatter look, you could lower the contrast to -2. I leave saturation at 0, but if you prefer your images more saturated, you can move that to +1 or +2, or if you prefer more muted tones, you can move your saturation to -1 or -2. One thing to consider is that most drones that have a sensor size of 1 inch, like the DJI Mavic 2 Pro or Air 2S, don't give you a ton of flexibility for manipulation in post-production if you shoot in normal mode. So if you shoot in normal mode, try to adjust your settings to how you want the final image to look. Now, shooting in D-Log gives you more flexibility for manipulating the exposure, colors, and sharpness in post-production. Now, one last note about log video. If it's 10-bit log, then you can manipulate the colors and exposure in post-production without degrading your footage. However, if your video is only 8-bit log, then I would not use it, since you will degrade the image when manipulating it in post-production. And therefore, I recommend you shoot in normal mode. And I go into greater detail about this in the paid course. All right, secret number 2, camera settings. The next way to make your drone footage more cinematic is to shoot at 24 frames per second or 24 FPS. And then to go along with that, you're gonna have to set your shutter speed to 1/50th of a second. So if you're shooting at 24 frames per second with a 1/50th of a second shutter speed, you're probably gonna need an ND filter, especially if you're using a low f-stop number. For most DJI drones, the best aperture that provides the best image quality is between f2.8 to f5.6. Lower your ISO to the lowest possible number, which right here is 100. After you have these settings, if your image is overexposed, then you're gonna need a neutral density filter or ND filter. An ND filter is like sunglasses for your lens. I usually shoot within a few hours of sunrise or sunset, so I usually use ND4, ND8, or ND16 most of the time. If you shoot during the middle of the day, you're gonna need a ND32 or a ND64 filter. Later in this video, I'll talk about when the best times to shoot are. Although I include footage from various drones throughout this video, I will include a lot of footage with the DJI Mini 2 just to demonstrate that what you're learning today is more important than the equipment and show you that you can get very cinematic footage if you're on a budget. Adjusting the gimbal and yaw movements are also very important, and for cinematic shots, I recommend making them smooth and slow rather than quick. This is more advanced and in-depth, so I spent a lot of time on specific settings for this in my Drone Pilot Pro course. However, right now I'll show you a great tip which will instantly make your drone footage more appealing. And you can use this for commercial work, documentaries, etc. So this tip is to shoot at 60 frames per second at the highest resolution possible. With the DJI Air 2S or Autel Evo 2, you can shoot at 4K 60 FPS. And of course, over time, the drone manufacturers keep improving resolutions. It is shooting at this higher frame rate, 60 frames per second, that is more important than image resolution. For me, I prefer to shoot at 60 FPS because I can speed up or slow down the footage in post-production. If you shoot at 24 frames per second, however, you won't be able to slow down your footage because you'll be missing frames, and if you try to slow it down, it's gonna look choppy. One editing technique I like to use is time remapping in order to speed up and then slow down my footage. The key to doing this technique well is to speed it up or slow it down gradually and not make it too abrupt. Another thing to consider is flying close to objects really allows this technique to stand out, and is especially useful for FPV drone pilots, though it works great with any drone that shoots at least 60 frames per second or 60 FPS. So shooting at 60 FPS will enhance and give you more options in post-production when applying my next cinematic secrets in this video. Secret number 3, pull back and reveal. The next secret to make your drone footage more cinematic is to use the same cinematic shooting methods that you'd use to shoot normal video. The first is pull back and reveal, which requires you to pull back on the right controller stick. This shot is similar to DJI's intelligent flight mode called Dronie. However, performing this manually will allow you to get the exact shot you want and avoid crashing. I like using this for shooting real estate videos to show the home or building and the surrounding view. I also like using this close to objects such as flying in a ravine while shooting a river. Now in this shot, we see the sun straight on. It's a beautiful shot, but what else? So now we start moving and wow, the tower comes into frame and all those trees. It makes it so much more interesting, and that could be the ending of our story. Secret number 4, slider. The next secret for getting cinematic drone footage is to use slider. Many filmmakers set their camera up on a slider attached to one or more tripods, allowing them to get a shot from left to right or right to left. However, you can do this with your drone by pressing the right controller stick to the left or right. I recommend using tripod or cine smooth mode so your movement is slow and smooth. This technique is excellent for establishing shots in the beginning of your real estate videos or documentaries. Secret number 5, gimbal up and reveal. The next secret for cinematic footage is to move your gimbal up and reveal something. In this shot, I'm showing you this building's roof, which says I'm from a place where it does not snow, and in the distance is the Miami skyline. Now, it would have been better if we weren't reading the words backwards, but it's an interesting way of revealing the main subject or building within the location. Another example of this, I'm gonna fly over a mountain. It doesn't have to be a mountain, it could be a building, a cliff, anything that reveals something in the distance. So I start low. Now in this shot, I'm looking at the trees straight down. Seeing all these trees elicits a feeling in the viewer. And then I slowly pan up with my gimbal. Now as I pan up, I can see the sun flare to the right. So as a viewer, you know that the sun is on the right side. And I'm gonna continue to slowly move my gimbal up. I have all these different storytelling elements in this shot. As I fly the drone forward, you can see the tower in the distance. Now this shot is okay. It is not a great shot just yet. Now we see a silhouette, and I like this shot. As we move closer to the tower and mountaintop, there's some suspense there. What's on the other side? The viewer wants to know, and I'm taking them along on this journey of discovery. As I pass the tower, I fly low, close to the trees, making it more interesting. And now you can see the beautiful landscape in the distance. However, there's more beautiful mountains to the right, so I'm gonna move the drone to the right to expose those mountains. I also did this because it was a little too dark to the left, and shooting into the sun, we can see the silhouette and shape of the mountains in the distance. Now moving the gimbal up, it helps to do this smooth and slowly. This helps make it look professional and create suspense. Now in my last example, I keep my drone stationary and simply move the gimbal up, revealing this cool bridge that I just drove over. Secret number 6, junk the front. My next secret for getting cinematic footage is one of my favorites. I call it junk the front. The principle behind this is to add objects in the foreground close to the drone in order to create depth and interest in your footage. Let me show you some different examples of using this technique. Notice this tree is right here in front of me. For this shot, I'm moving the drone too fast, so I recommend moving your controller to Cine Smooth mode or tripod mode, or whatever setting will allow you to move your drone slower from side to side. As I slowed it down, it looked much better. As we went across, the trees really weren't interesting, but what's more interesting is the fact that now we see the cabin with the beautiful reflection of the trees in the water and the clouds reflecting in the water as well. You can also use junk the front moving forward. So here I'm flying forward into the sun and we can see the trees moving by us. This gives the viewer a better sense of movement and feeling while watching. And you could also go backwards as well, here really fast. Now moving forward with trees on both sides, this would work in a city with buildings on both sides as well. I try to fly as close as possible to the tree branches without crashing. Now I would practice this and you'll become more confident, and your judgment of how close you can fly to objects will improve with time. As a little bonus here, I tilted my gimbal down to get that truck and house into focus while also keeping the landscape in frame. So this method is great for an establishing shot for a scene. Secret number 7, fly close to reveal. The next way I get cinematic footage is to fly straight up close to an object. All right, I'm flying nice and smooth straight up, revealing different parts of this tree as I go up, just the silhouette. As we get to the top, now we can see the entire landscape with a beautiful view. In this next shot, we see these people, then the sun pops out. We're flying close to the monument straight up. There's a beautiful hill on the left side, and then we get that nice flare across our image from the sun. Personally, I like shooting into the sun, especially when it's low on the horizon with an orange glow. And then as the drone goes farther up, we can see the top of this monument. As we get toward the top, we can see the picturesque landscape in front of us. The tower becomes less of the focus and the landscape becomes more important. The viewer's eye goes from focusing on the tower to focusing on the landscape and then to the flare from the sunset. And then we finish with the money shot right here. With this one, I moved too fast, which to me doesn't look cinematic. So if I had to redo it, I would shoot it slower. And the sun is obviously higher up in the sky. It's not as yellow-orange in tone, but we still get a great view. And I also tilted my camera down to reveal more of the trees. Now in this shot, we see a silhouette of all these trees. Then the sun just starts revealing itself. I didn't go straight up this time. Instead, I pressed up and to the right, almost at a diagonal. And we can see the sun reveal itself just over the mountain. The sun is obviously setting. And then as we continue to fly, the tower disappears. And the tower and the trees become less of a focus, and the viewer's attention is on the entire sunset and mountains in the distance. And the orange and almost purplish tone in the mountains becomes the focus. And you can even see the lake down near the center. The next shot is very simple, going straight up. We see that path to the left which slowly disappears. We see this black silhouette with the tower. Now I used to be a journalist, so I like to think of storytelling elements such as the tower with the people inside. And then the sun comes into frame, almost in the center, but not blocking the tower, just to the side. And we get that beautiful sun flare in our shot. Now notice all my movements are slow and smooth. I started all these shots really close to the subject, and then I revealed the beautiful landscape in the background. Secret number 8, fly low over water, fly past objects fast. The next secret is actually 2 ways to get cinematic footage. Fly low over water and fly past objects fast. I've given a few examples of flying fast past objects, but I'm going to elaborate further here. Let's start with flying low over water. I like to do this because when you fly high over water, as you can see right here, it looks good. However, there's not too much movement. The clouds are moving slightly, but trees and everything else are very static. Thankfully, the clouds were relatively low, and that is adding some interest. But if the clouds weren't there, it wouldn't be as interesting. So to make it more interesting, more cinematic, I like to fly at a low altitude. In this shot, I'm nice and low, which is creating the feeling of movement. I'm probably flying a little too fast for this subject matter, but fast enough that these objects are moving quickly by my drone. You see the fog, the tree branches moving past the drone. Flying low over water, you get this beautiful silhouette if the water is calm. Notice the tree branches on the left and the right as well, moving across the frame. The key here is to get as close to those tree branches as possible without hitting them. This feeling of movement is not as dramatic if you filmed higher up. In the lower right hand side, you can see the trees moving in the ripples of the water. On the left, the ripples in the water create a feeling of movement since I'm flying so low to the water. Now if the water has ripples, it creates this really nice effect. And if there are tree branches or other objects in the water, it adds more interest and a feeling of movement. As I fly closer to this house, the reflection of these trees almost looks like a painting. Now I could also do this going backward, moving in the other direction, and the tree branches, etc. are revealed. One thing not to do is get the drone in the shot, but I'm going to tilt my camera up. Now we can see the ripples in the water as I'm flying forward. Now we see a tree, and then the scene is being revealed. I didn't execute that shot perfectly. I could have moved my drone and the gimbal a little more smoothly for a better execution of that shot. Secret 9, Droney. My next secret for getting cinematic footage is called Droney, which is the term DJI uses for an intelligent flight mode that starts close to the subject and then flies far away, or starts far away and then flies close to a subject. Now I'm going to show you how to do this with DJI's intelligent flight mode. Then I'm going to show you how I perform this shot manually, which I recommend, and I'll explain in a moment. In the DJI Fly app, if you click right here and then click on Quick Shot and then select Droney, you can choose the amount of feet you want the drone to fly away. You can choose 390 feet and the drone will go to that distance. I recommend always choosing the maximum distance, always choosing 390 feet, because you can always edit it shorter. It's like cutting hair. You can always make it shorter, but you can't make it longer. So I always shoot plenty of footage, and then I can make a decision how long I want it to be when I edit the footage. This is similar in DJI Go 4 app. Click on the remote icon, choose Quick Shot, then choose Droney. Once you're in Droney, drag your finger over the subject. So for me, it's this house. Then press the start button. Then it'll give you a 3-second countdown until it begins. For me, Droney is too slow for my taste. As you can see, it's going up and away, which is great. We want to go up and away, or start really high up and go down toward the subject. But a better way to do that would be to do that manually. I could use the remote controller. If I started close, I could press the controller like this to make the drone go up and away. Or I could press the controller like this to make the drone go down and toward the subject. Now here we have this beautiful mountain. We have this nice scenery. The mountain is a ski area in the wintertime. I'm gonna tilt the gimbal down and the viewer's eye switches from the mountain to the red truck. The red truck is a good storytelling element. Its color stands out from everything around it. And we follow that truck with our drone. And then I'm gonna cut to another scene of the truck driving down the road. And that could be the beginning of your film right there. Another technique, I like to start with a landscape and move backward, and we can see the main subject come into the frame. In this case, it's the tower again. So we see this beautiful landscape, but obviously the tower catches the viewer's eye, so that's where the focus is. So try starting in front of the main subject or close to a subject and fly backwards. On the left side, the gondola on the top of the ski area is coming into frame, and we can see the beautiful landscape. If you prefer a silhouette like this, then shoot into the sun. If this is not your style, then shoot in the opposite direction with the sun. Same thing here, I'm shooting into the sun, and you can see the tower being revealed as I fly backward. I'm framing the sun on the right side, rule of thirds. The sun is in the center right, and the mountain is in the center left, and then the subject is right in the middle. If you put those three elements together, they form a triangle, making for a great composition. Then I go back, and now this is our money shot right here. We see the monument, the mountain, and the sun. Those three elements all together make this a really pleasing shot. In the next one, we got our cabin again. I start close, and then as I move back, you can see that beautiful painterly reflection from the trees. And then we notice some more trees, and I'm moving the drone up at the same time I'm moving it backward. How far up you want to move depends on the subject, so use your best judgment. Now the viewer is aware that the cabin is all alone and may be thinking, what's going on here? So revealing the isolation of this cabin raises questions with the viewer. Why is the cabin right there? What is going on inside of it? I added a second version right here because I thought I moved back too low. So when you fly backward, it's good to fly up and back and not just straight back. When you fly up and back, you can see more of the landscape, so the viewer has a better feel for the depth, the three-dimensional quality, and the surrounding of the subject. And you can see that right there. The cabin is surrounded by wilderness. And if I go even higher, it gives a different perspective. So experiment with various heights as you move the drone backward. Usually it's better to go higher up as you move the drone backward. Or if you want to do the opposite, I'm starting high and far away from the subject and flying down toward it. This allows the viewer to take in the entire landscape. I sped this up really quickly because it was a little slow, and then I slowed it down as I got closer to the subject. I did that speed change in post-production, which I explain in detail in my full course. As I get close to the tower, maybe something is going on in the tower or in one of the homes next to it, which could be our next scene. In this shot, I started really close, focusing on the star on top, and then I sped this up in post-production. Now, just like the previous shot, I started slow and then I sped it up, and then I went slow again. I did move the camera a little bit, that was a mistake. I wanted to finish this beautiful money shot of the sun setting, the mountain, and the tower with a circle of green grass. Secret number 10, shoot into the sun. The next secret for getting cinematic footage is to allow sun flare into the drone's camera lens. I talked about this before, but now I'm going to show you some more and different examples. This style of shooting may not fit your personal style, so I recommend shooting into the sun and also into the opposite direction with the sun and see which you prefer. One important thing to keep in mind is the time of day when you shoot. I prefer the golden glow around sunrise and sunset. The reason why I prefer to shoot around sunrise or sunset is because the camera sensor in most drones is not that big, so it can't handle the contrast of midday sun, where you get a bright sun and harsh shadows. Most drone camera sensors do not perform as well during those conditions. However, during golden hour, the sun's light has a softer quality to it. It is more cinematic in color tone and less intense overall, providing great cinematic light quality and quantity. This usually lasts 20 to 60 minutes depending on where you are in the world and what time of year it is. Golden hour usually lasts longer the closer you are to the north and south poles and shorter near the equator. Another part to consider for cinematic lighting is the direction of the light. Try shooting into the sun or the sun just outside the frame to provide a great cinematic flare from a 45-degree angle. This is one of my favorite ways to shoot. However, if I was filming a real estate video, for example, I prefer to shoot between 1 to 3 hours after the sun has risen, or a couple hours before sunset, so I don't get harsh shadows, yet the sun is still low enough on the horizon that it's softer than midday. If you're shooting documentaries or short films, then I would choose to shoot around sunrise or sunset, as seen in the following examples. As I fly forward here, the sun is glaring in the upper right hand corner and it's changing the color of the trees. It changes from a purplish to almost green, then to yellow, and then to purple pink. So those colors were nice before we panned up. In the next shot, we can see the sun being revealed just going straight up over the mountain. It is right in the center of the frame. When the sun is low in the sky, like it is here, that works really well. The sun is low in the sky, so we're gonna slowly face toward it. The sun starts out a frame and then comes into frame. If you can block the sun with a tree or monument right here, it helps add a three-dimensional quality, adding more depth and interest into the shot. The sun pops out on the left here, giving us that nice flare as it's low in the sky. Then our attention goes to the tower. I didn't shoot this perfectly, but you get the point. Now I'm creating another shot that I could edit my footage to, moving the sun across the frame as I move the drone to the right. So you can see how the flare moves from these different angles and use the ones that work best for you. Maybe you prefer it over here to the right, or maybe you prefer it straight on or to the left. So keep all these things in mind when you shoot and know what fits your personal style of shooting. Bonus secret. Find good music. Now, because I like to always over-deliver, I'm gonna give you a bonus secret for getting cinematic footage, which is to find good music. This may seem obvious to some of you, but often I'll see a video that was shot really well and edited, but doesn't live up to its potential because it either has no music or lousy music. Why would you take all that time to shoot and edit a video and then neglect your music? I recommend spending time to find the right songs for your videos, and with time, you'll have your own personalized music library that fits your unique style of shooting. Now, the sites I use to get good music are Artlist, MusicBed, and Soundstripe. I've also included some music discounts in the full course, along with tips on how to find the right music and edit it with your footage. For me, the audio is just as important as the video, which is why I've also included sound effects and tips for perfecting your sound design in order to make your videos stand out from the crowd. And this will be extremely helpful for both drone pilots and filmmakers. For example, here's a video clip with no sound design. Now here is the same clip with music and sound effects. Those sound effects added in addition to the music is called sound design, or SFX. I try to record sounds when I'm on location to use for editing. However, it's often not possible to get all the audio sounds needed for a video. This is why I've included hundreds of pre-recorded sound effects in the full course, so you don't have to waste your time looking for sounds or trying to record them yourself. This will save you a ton of time while taking your videos to the next level, which will attract higher paying clients. And speaking of high paying clients, now let's get into my 5 steps to make money with your drone. These are the 5 steps that I use to quit my 9-to-5 job and turn my passion for flying drones into a full-time business. So I'll be providing plenty of practical examples from my own life to show you exactly how you can do this as well. So how did I get started with drones and build a successful drone business? First off, I didn't know much of anything about drones when I began working at the DJI store in Miami 5 years ago, but my filmmaking and photography background helped me get the job and apply it to the new task of learning about drones. Step 1, earn while you learn. This is the first step I took, earn while you learn. For most people, this will be step number 5, but keep in mind, I had already spent a decade learning and working as a photographer and filmmaker, but I was really intrigued by drones. So while working at this drone store, I talked to drone pilots and filmmakers all day long. In doing so, I got to see which questions and problems that they had. I also talked with my colleagues who had many more years of experience than I did and picked their brains for knowledge. Learning from everyone from drone techs who did repairs, to colleagues who flew in drone races in their free time, to professional drone pilots and filmmakers who frequented the store. I gained a wealth of knowledge and simultaneously was earning a living. So I made a lot of progress, but I was working at it all day, every day, and it took me a long time, which is one of the main reasons I created my Drone Pilot Pro course, to save you the time and effort that I did in trying to figure this all out. So when starting out, I would recommend you work with a drone pilot or production company in your city that you like. This will allow you to earn while you learn from actual experience. You'll get a ton of practical knowledge from this course, but at the end of the day, you have to fly your drone for money in order to gain real-world experience. Now, you're gonna make mistakes, but these will be valuable learning lessons and give you more and more confidence with each job you do. So over time, if you decide to leave and begin your own drone business, you'll have the necessary experience, confidence, and client connections for a successful business. Step number 2, invest in yourself. While working at the drone store, I watched tons of YouTube videos, read articles, and bought a Phantom 4 Pro and then later a Mavic 2 Pro. So this leads to my second step that I took, which is invest in yourself. Buying those drones was a big investment for me at the time, but how can you expect someone to invest a lot of money in you if you're not willing to invest a lot of money in your gear and education? Personally, I believe education is more important than the gear, but without professional gear, the production value of your work will suffer. Quality gear and quality education leads to quality work and quality clients. Now I talk more about gear in the Q&A at the end. But because I invested a lot into my education and gear, it paid me back in return more than 100 times. And more important than the money, I feel great every day because I'm doing something I'm passionate about, so invest in yourself. One last thing about education. While working at the DJI store, I began studying and passed my commercial drone exam, earning my FAA Part 107 license. My manager recognized all this and I began giving flight lessons to individuals and small groups. Although I enjoyed the smiles and handshakes for helping customers set up and learn new flying techniques, I recognized a major problem. There was too much information to cover in too short a period of time. In addition, no matter how good each lesson was, research has shown that after 1 hour, people retain less than half of the information presented. After 1 day, people forget more than 70% of what was taught in training. After a week, people forget more than 80% of the information in their training. People who I gave a lesson to on Monday would come into the store on Friday asking a question that we had discussed during their training. However, I noticed the very same people never had to ask me the same question if it were covered in one of my videos. In other words, video learning allows you to learn at your own pace, when you want, where you want, and you can repeat difficult parts over and over until you master them. This is the reason why I decided to create this course, which includes so much more information than I could ever cover in a live in-person lesson, while also charging less money and saving you time. That last point is probably the most important, saving you time. You could watch YouTube videos and get some of the information I share in my Drone Pilot Pro course. However, it will take you months, if not years, and it's very frustrating. I'm sure a lot of you have been in this scenario where you spend an hour looking for a tutorial on YouTube and you finally find one that looks promising, but it's 20 minutes long and you're lucky if you get 30 seconds of useful information. Huge waste of time. I know how it goes, and that's a huge reason why I created my Drone Pilot Pro course, because I wanted to give you an alternative to spending months and years of your life watching YouTube tutorials and learning from your own mistakes. The point is, I know how frustrating that process can be. That's why I've included everything you need to learn in a way that you can learn easily and fast. And as new drones and software come out, I add new tutorials to the course so you don't have to search for answers as the technology is updated. I have also included answers in this course to the most pertinent questions asked in the comments of my YouTube videos. So the combination of working at the DJI store, giving in-person lessons, and chatting with drone pilots live and online has helped give me feedback in order to fine-tune this Drone Pilot Pro course to make it the absolute best drone course anywhere. So whether you buy the full course or not, please take the time to invest in your education. Step number 3, master your Mavic. The next step is mastering your Mavic, as I put it, or mastering your drone and business skills. It's not only important to make content that stands out from the crowd, but also to get it in front of the people who want to pay you money for your skills. The two biggest impediments I've seen talking with countless drone pilots and filmmakers is that most people either have not invested enough in learning and getting really good with their drone, or they're really good at filmmaking but have poor business skills. So although I said master your Mavic, really you need to master your drone and business skills. And I'll talk about that in more detail in my next 2 steps. Now, if you're just starting your drone business, you're likely to have questions that arise as you build your skills and list of clients. That's why it's important to have a group of like-minded people who can help answer your questions and provide you with support and feedback on your work. For those who join the full course, you'll gain access to the Drone Pilot Pro Facebook members group, where myself and others add tips, critiques, and encouragement to help you on your journey, along with email access to myself for questions you'd like to ask privately. Step number 4, build a niche portfolio. While you're developing your skills, build a niche portfolio. If there's no demand for the type of work you want to do, no matter how good your skills are, you won't make much money. That's why I recommend doing some research to figure out what is in demand where you live. For example, if you live in Charleston, South Carolina and love shooting weddings, you could join another established wedding videographer or photographer and build a wedding portfolio that eventually will lead you to landing your own weddings, because there are thousands of weddings in Charleston every year. If you love shooting weddings and don't live in the area where there are many weddings, then you'll have to either shoot something else or move to a city with a high demand like Charleston. When I started, I built my drone business shooting weddings and commercial work and doing some real estate work. So I separated them on 2 different websites. You may be thinking, drones aren't used that much for weddings. That's true. For weddings, I use mostly my traditional photography or video skills, whereas for my commercial work, I use mostly my drone video skills while working with established production companies. So you may need to use photo and video skills while starting your business. Over time, as you get more and more work, you'll be able to turn down jobs that are not drone related. If you're starting out with no work to show, then I would do a few personal projects or free shoots in a specific niche you're interested in getting paid for. One trick I used to help me get my first paid client and higher paying clients was to pretend I was getting paid $100,000 for the job. I approached these personal projects with this mentality, and it forced me to go above and beyond what I thought was capable at the time. This helped in 2 ways. I had a portfolio that separated me from the crowd and helped me get paid work. And when I began shooting, I never felt any pressure because I believed I had been working on many $100,000 jobs. Now, obviously your work has to be good to get clients, but when you take this serious mental approach to your work, along with the technical knowledge that I teach in my full course, you'll see your drone business grow. And in the full course, I show you how to price your work in the different niches while providing you with client contract templates and release forms for you to use. Now, the reason I say create a niche portfolio is because clients usually hire a person for a specific job, whether that be commercials, corporate work, luxury real estate, music videos, weddings, etc. Seeing a lot of examples of the same type of work in your portfolio will give a client confidence and reassurance that you can do a great job for them. The exception to this would be if you live and plan on building your business in a small town. In that case, there may not be enough jobs in a certain niche, and therefore you'd be better off building a portfolio with different types of work. Lastly, when building a portfolio, be very critical of your work. It should be all killer and no filler. If it doesn't represent the absolute best work you can do, then throw it out. I recommend having a demo reel or quick portfolio on your website so potential clients can get a feel for your work within a few seconds. And encourage them to stay on your site because of the quality of your work. The more time a client spends on your website, the more likely they'll do business with you. So that's why investing in your gear, education, and skills will allow you to have a portfolio that will attract good clients. Step number 5, marketing yourself intentionally. This leads to my next step, which is marketing yourself intentionally. Niche work equals niche clients, but remember, the riches are in the niches, but not all niches have riches. So if you want to do commercial work, begin shooting commercials, even if it's a few free commercials of products or services with your family or friends. Make it the absolute best you can and post it on your website and social media pages. In the full course, I talk about how to use SEO strategies and social media to build a following that gets you paid. You only need a few really good videos or about 20 to 40 photos to begin marketing to potential clients. So this can take a few weeks or a few months depending on how ambitious and dedicated you are. But if you shoot for a specific niche and then reach out to clients in that niche, you will get work. How much they pay you depends on the particular niche, the quality of your work, and your business skills. Now, in order to make money with your drone in the United States, you need a Part 107 commercial license. And yes, this includes making money on YouTube videos. My Drone Pilot Pro course includes my entire Part 107 mini course with practice questions and 2 real practice exams, along with step-by-step instructions to make sure you pass the Part 107 exam and become a licensed commercial drone pilot. You will also need liability insurance, which I talk about in detail in the full course. If you're starting out or have been flying for a while but aren't earning much money, here's an exercise you can do right now that will help you find your niche and get you higher paying clients. For this exercise, you're going to need a piece of paper. I'll give you a moment to find a piece of paper and a pen. On this paper, draw 2 big circles that overlap, leaving enough space where they overlap. In the left circle, you're gonna write about the niches you're both passionate and talented in shooting or editing. Maybe you enjoy editing in Premiere Pro or Photoshop. Then types of editing work rather than shooting is what you should fill in. I would focus mostly on what you're passionate about because this will motivate you to put in the work and develop a talent for it. So things you're passionate about shooting are most important in the left circle. Passion will also help you push through obstacles because you're doing something you enjoy. It's also important to assess your own skills. Maybe you're better at photography than filmmaking. Then you should write about potential photography work. On the right side of the circle, fill in the niches that are both in demand and pay well where you live. If there are a lot of people who want to hire you to shoot for them, but they're a bunch of broke college students, but then that will not be a very profitable niche. You have to find a need in the market and the people who need your services, and they have to have enough money to pay you well. There are so many factors to how much one gets paid, but here are some general guidelines to help you think about what niches you're passionate about and can earn money. There are obvious exceptions, but the following list is in order from the most profitable to the least profitable drone niches for photography, filmmaking, and editing. Commercials and corporate, weddings, architecture and construction, luxury real estate, fitness, action sports, music, stock footage, influencers and travel, documentaries. So in this circle, you're gonna have to do some research. I suggest typing into Google the examples you already wrote in your left circle. See if there are people in your area shooting that same type of work. If there are a lot of people shooting the same thing you wanna shoot, that's a good thing. It means there's a high demand in that niche. If you live in a city and there's no one that comes up after searching for a while, then you may need to find another niche. So this will take some time to do some research, look at people's websites, make phone calls, etc. Once you've filled in these two circles, this middle part, this red part, is where they overlap. This is the niche or niches you want to pursue because you can make a full-time income doing what you enjoy. To help you remember, you can think of this diagram like a table. A table has 4 legs to keep it from falling down. So to build a solid drone business, you need these 4 things: passion, talent, need, and money. Now, how do I get repeat business or referrals? The first way is obvious, and that's to do a great work and make the person who pays you happy with the delivered work. The second way is a little less obvious and often overlooked, and that's your attitude. People like to work with people they like, so be a joy to work with. If you don't have it yet, work on developing a pleasant and pleasing personality. And this also means being professional. Safety always comes first. So if a client asks you to execute a shot that violates the law or puts others in danger, you should say no. Being professional also means having all your gear organized, a copy of the shot list printed out or on a tablet, your insurance and FAA clearance taken care of. In other words, when you arrive on site for a job, you have to be prepared to fly right away and be friendly and warm with people around you. I always test my gear before I leave for a job, bring at least one backup drone, and make sure to arrive early before the scheduled shoot time. As I said earlier, treat every job like you're getting paid $100,000, and you will do all the little things that stand out in the mind of your client and thus get you hired for more work. Because having a pleasant and pleasing personality and going above and beyond what the client expects, your client may also talk about you with people he or she knows, thus your business will grow from word of mouth. Be the person everyone praises and wants to work with. Make sure you have a 5-star personality. So there you have my 10 secrets to make your drone footage cinematic, along with my 5 steps to make money with your drone. Hopefully you learned some new insights, and even if you don't end up joining the full course, this should at least help you become a better drone pilot and begin getting paid for your work. If you don't plan on joining my Drone Pilot Pro course, I wish you the best of luck. I'm telling you from experience, there's no way in heck I could have learned everything I teach in my course without the help of a mentor who had already blazed a trail for me. As I said earlier, for me that was all the drone experts at the DJI store and the drone pilots and filmmakers I talk to and work with on a regular basis. And that's what I'll be doing for all Drone Pilot Pro course members, by helping walk you through everything step by step and adding new content when questions and new technology come out. Again, the full course is over 100 videos of content just like this webinar. And real quick, I want to give you an idea of what's included in the full course for anyone who has enjoyed this free webinar and would like to learn more. So this course has taken me several years to make. I organized questions I received from working at the drone store and giving lessons, along with my YouTube channel, into several categories in order to create a course that would help anyone become a professional drone pilot, even if they're a complete beginner. I then scripted concise answers to these questions with examples from my own own real-world experience. Over the next 2 years, I shot and edited these video tutorials to make the Drone Pilot Pro course, which I am continually updating as new technology is released from the hundreds of students who have joined my courses. Drone Pilot Pro course is made up of 4 specific courses that I sell individually as smaller courses, but these courses are all included in the full package, so you can go from complete beginner to master your drone, pass the Part 107 exam, earn your commercial drone license, edit your videos 10 times faster, and find clients and build a successful drone business. The skills learned in this course will also help you grow your business if you're an aspiring professional photographer, filmmaker, or editor. And in the next few months, I'll be adding FPV drone and mapping courses, which all Drone Pilot Pro students will have access to for life. So the current course includes the following: DJI Drone Pro, master your DJI drone; Part 107 Pro, become a licensed commercial drone pilot; Edit Fast Pro, edit 10 times faster in Premiere Pro; Drone Business Pro, make money with your drone. In the DJI Drone Pro section, you'll learn how to quickly set up your DJI drone or DJI FPV, and I talk about all the extra gear and accessories worth considering. Over the past few years, I've worked with many companies who send me all sorts of drone gear, such as Polar Pro, Freewell, and Sandmark. I spent days and weeks and months testing this gear, and therefore can share with you what I've learned so that you don't waste your money on gear you won't use or is not as effective as another piece of equipment. You'll also learn the ins and outs of the DJI apps, learn how to plan and execute a successful flight, along with intelligent flight modes like Active Track, have my downloadable pre-flight checklist, learn my secret pro settings and techniques, and a few videos about FPV drones and mapping. After mastering your drone, the next section, Part 107 Pro, shows you everything you need to know in order to pass the Part 107 exam on the first try, earning your commercial drone license. I provided practice questions, useful websites, and 2 practice exams that mimic the real exam. In the next section, Edit Fast Pro, you'll learn my revolutionary editing method to edit your videos in Premiere Pro 10 times faster, which includes all my keyboard shortcuts for download and instant use. You'll learn how to color grade and apply LUTs, and I add new LUTs for new drones that are released. You'll also learn how to find and edit music along with my sound design workflow to make your drone video and audio stand out from the crowd. In the next section, Drone Business Pro, I'll show you how to make money with your drone. This includes step-by-step instruction on how to find the right clients and get them to hire you. I also provide templates for client contracts and release forms, as well as how to get the right liability insurance. I show you my streams of income and how I earn money both from working and passive income. I show you how to make YouTube videos that get more than 100,000 views. I also show you how to create a cohesive website and brand that will grow in size and grow your income. I also show you how to stay organized and run a professional drone business. Now, a few bonuses to be aware of on top of the training videos. All Drone Pilot Pro course members will also get these bonuses and discounts. I believe these discounts alone are worth the price of the course, but you be the judge. Bonuses: pre-flight checklist, cinematic LUTs, Premiere Pro presets, hundreds of sound effects, 60% off Adobe Creative Suite. My downloadable pre-flight checklist will ensure you are always prepared and fly with confidence. This checklist will also be a good way to reinforce some of the things you have learned in the course. My cinematic LUTs, or lookup tables, which basically do for your drone footage what Instagram filters do for photos. They help give your footage a particular look or feel. To create this from scratch can take a long time and prior expertise. So by using my cinematic LUTs, you'll save a ton of time editing and color grading by placing a LUT on your video footage. Don't worry, in this course I show you step by step how to apply these LUTs to your footage in Adobe Premiere Pro and Final Cut Pro X. My Premiere Pro animations and motion graphic templates level up your production value and can be applied with a simple drag and drop. I use these movements for titles and transitions on my YouTube channel and client work. You'll also receive hundreds of sound effects for your videos, which are an often neglected area for video editors. Having this library of sound effects will save you a ton of time since you don't have to record these sounds on location. Now you'll also get 60% off Adobe Creative Suite, which includes Premiere Pro, After Effects, Lightroom, Photoshop, Adobe Audition, and many more Adobe apps. This discount alone pays for the course. Music is very important for any drone video you edit, or any video for that matter. I worked out a deal to get course members discounts on the following music licensing platforms: Artlist, Soundstripe, and MusicBed, so you can find the right song for your personal and commission work. And as another perk of this course, in the upcoming weeks and months, I'll be uploading new tutorial videos for new drones and software, so the course stays updated and you don't have to waste your time figuring out all the new features and technology. So there it is. That is what my Drone Pilot Pro course includes. So there's only one upfront cost and you will have access to all the current content and all the future content. You can watch and learn at your own pace from your phone, tablet, or your computer. If you have an Apple device, you can watch these videos offline as well. Now, I created short tutorials on my YouTube channel as well, and many of my subscribers enjoy my style and approach to teaching. In fact, before I became a full-time drone pilot and filmmaker, I earned a master's degree in education and taught in schools in New York, Miami, and overseas. It was these students, along with the comments I get online, that have helped me hone my teaching skills and make learning easy, fun, and fast. In fact, here are what some people have to say about my videos. KC enjoyed how detailed my video was. Mark said it was one of the best instructional tutorial videos he has ever seen on YouTube. I answered every single question he had. CreditFast enjoyed the production value in my video tutorial. Cole said he watched 15 videos and mine was the best. Philip liked how my video was precise and to the point. A lot of people appreciate my tutorials because I skip all the fluff and don't waste time. As Tangerine Firebird, who said, "Thanks for no intro." This is one area that separates my course from others online. A lot of people selling courses waste your time or brag about how many hours or how long their course is. In reality, this doesn't make much sense. I have discovered that people want tutorials that are easy to follow and don't waste their time. In addition, the information has to be good. As I like to say, all killer and no filler. Peter Sterling agreed with the sentiment, saying, "Bro, really good video. Telling your viewers a feature no one else talks about? Awesome." Not only do I try my best to include info you can't find anywhere else, but I did my best to make this course both organized and complete. As Julie said, "Wow, great guide, so comprehensive and thorough." Thank you. And scrolling down, I'm just going to show you a couple more. Dean said, "Thanks for covering that unknown feature." John seconded that, saying, "Unlike most, I'll give you X secret videos. This was really informative. Thanks, Brett." Rami says, "Thanks for a great tutorial. More direct to the point and one of the best I've seen." Gypsy and Yoga Pants said, "Awesome vid, man. Everything I need to know. Thanks." Now here are what some members say about the course overall. Aquilius Young said, "The Drone Pilot course is a very easy, simple, and well-structured one that meets the needs of any drone pilot ready to take their skills to the professional level. Content is relevant and always updated." Alehid Algo said, "I had a little experience flying drones, but now I'm able to take the aerial photos and videos I always wanted. Brett gave me a lot of valuable advice and goes in much more detail than I expected about all the different camera settings, how to use ND filters, and different ways to protect my drone and fly safe. The way he teaches is very clear and gets right to the point. His experience definitely shows. It feels more like a drone and filmmaking course in one. Brett is always there to answer any questions. His course is definitely worth the investment." And there are hundreds of members just like that. My goal for this course is to save you time and frustration, learning all the intricacies of flying your drone, creating amazing content, and landing you high-paying clients. Alright, so without further ado, we will finally get to the price of the course, and as promised, I'll be offering an exclusive webinar discount for those who have hung around to the end of this training. Now, a course like this taught at a college or university would cost about $5,000. However, because I don't have the overhead of traditional higher education, I don't have to charge as much. So based on the content of this course, with new videos being added in the next couple of months, the downloads and discounts, and the time and money you'll save, I feel like this course is worth well over $1,000. Eventually, I'll charge around that amount, but right now, since the course is new, you won't pay that. I currently have it priced at $799, but as an early bird special and as an exclusive webinar discount, you can join now for just $349. That's more than 50% off the early bird price. I'm gonna pop on the screen the offer button. Just click on that button and use the coupon code on the screen, and it will take you to the sales page where you'll see the discounted price. Click on that and it will take you to the checkout page. If you already have an account with Teachable, then use your existing login info or create a new account and then you can check out. You will then have access to the course and all the new content for life. And because I'm so confident in this course, I offer a 14-day money-back guarantee. So if you're unsatisfied with your purchase, contact me in the first 14 days and I'll give you a full refund. With that said, I'm very confident that this course will deliver results. So take advantage of this offer if you want to save time, level up your drone skills, and grow a more profitable business. If you have any questions about the course, send me an email at support@thedronepilotpro.com. Before you send that email, in order to save us some time, let me first answer some questions that you probably have right now in this Q&A. First question, what drone should I buy? I would recommend DJI drones. In general, the bigger the drone, the more stable and easier it is to fly, though the technology is improving all the time. If you have about $500 to spend, I would recommend the DJI Mini 2. If your budget is under $1,000, I would get the DJI Mavic Air 2 or Air 2S. For around $2,000, I'd recommend the Mavic 2 Pro or the Phantom 4 Pro. And if you have a bigger budget, you could go with the DJI Inspire 2 or DJI Matrice 300. Or my current favorite drone, the DJI Mavic 3. And if you can afford it, get the Cine Edition. With that said, the best DJI drone is the one you're gonna use. So think about how much you're willing to spend on a drone and buy the drone in your budget. Sometimes people say I have a bias to DJI, but the reason I recommend them is they have a proven track record of great drones and cutting edge technology at affordable prices. And because they have the most options in their drone lineup, you could start with one DJI drone and upgrade to a more expensive DJI drone when you're ready. Thus making the transition from one drone to another will be almost effortless since you've learned how they fly and the features in the apps. And hopefully you'll get my course to save you all that time and hassle up front. How long do I have to complete the course? How many times can I go back and rewatch the course? The upfront payment is the only payment you'll make, and you'll have access to all current content and future content. You can watch at your own pace and rewatch as many times as you'd like. Can teenagers, senior citizens, or females succeed in the drone industry? Yes. Although the majority of my students are adult males, I have had students of all ages, male and female, succeed in the drone industry. One thing to keep in mind is that in the United States, if the drone weighs more than 0.55 pounds, which is most outdoor drones, the person who registers the drone must be at least 13 years old. But to earn money, you have to be at least 16 years old to take the Part 107 exam and become a certified commercial drone pilot. So if you are younger than 16, you can't legally make money with your drone in the United States, but you can still practice and develop your skills so that when you're 16, you can start your drone business. On the other side of the coin, I've had many people who have enrolled in my course who have decided to change careers or who are retired. So people of all ages who have enrolled in the course and apply what they've learned are turning a drone hobby into a part-time and full-time business. By the way, our time is almost up for this webinar only discount, so hurry and get signed up if you want to take advantage of this offer. If you're having any payment issues, please email me at support@thedronepilotpro.com and I'll make sure I get you taken care of. Also, I always love hearing your feedback and how the course has affected your life. So if you join, please share your thoughts about the course with me. It's super important to me that everyone who joins is getting more value out of this investment than the money they put into it. Alrighty, I'm gonna answer a couple more questions and then I have to go. Should I go to drone or film school? It depends. Drone or film schools have their pros and cons. The main benefit of going to drone or film school is the connections you make. However, it's going to cost a lot of money and take a long time before you start making money with your drone. You will pay much less for my course and be able to get work within a couple months. Personally, I've always learned better by doing, so regardless of whether you go to drone or film school, enroll in my course, or both, you have to work in order to get experience and grow your business. So basically, the end of the road is the same, but how you want to get there is your decision. What happens if I don't use DJI drones? Will the course still apply? Yes, most of the course will apply. The videos that are about DJI features don't directly apply to a different drone manufacturer, but you find similar concepts across different drones and apps. There are also a few videos in the course about flying FPV drones and DJI FPV. In the next couple months, I will be adding an entire mini course about flying FPV drones, which is a niche that is growing substantially and pays quite well. So if you sign up now, you'll have access to those video tutorials as well. If I have specific questions, would I be able to email you those questions? Absolutely. Any questions you have, you'll have my personal email address that you can send me questions, and I'll usually reply within a day or two. I believe the real answers are in this course, and it will help you overcome your stumbling blocks and shorten your learning curve. And speaking of questions, hopefully I've answered most of yours in this training. If I didn't cover some of your questions, feel free to email me at support@thedronepilotpro.com, and I'll respond within 24 hours. Also, if you have any other questions or doubts about whether this course is right for you, shoot me an email and let's chat about your situation and see what we can do to help. Thanks for tuning in. You can follow me on Instagram and YouTube to keep up to date with what's going on with my Drone Pilot Pro course and my career as a drone pilot and filmmaker. And I want to wish you all the best of luck in all your drone and creative endeavors. Remember to always invest in yourself. Never stop learning and growing. Take action on what you've learned today and you'll start seeing success. Siempre pa'lante, nunca para atrás. That's it. I'm out. Thanks for stopping by. And if you have any other questions, please let me know. I'm Breck Aramella, the Drone Pilot Pro, and remember, fly like a pro.